Flying animals, from majestic birds to agile insects, exhibit a fascinating array of ruling behaviors that are often defined by their species' characteristics, habitat, and social structures. Birds, for instance, are known for their complex social hierarchies, which can vary significantly among species. In some cases, such as with the African gray parrot, intelligence plays a crucial role in establishing dominance, with these birds using vocalizations and problem-solving skills to communicate and assert their position within a flock. Other species, like the red-tailed hawk, often display territorial behavior, using aerial displays and calls to ward off intruders, ensuring that they maintain control over their chosen hunting grounds. In contrast, insects such as bees and ants demonstrate an entirely different social structure. Honeybees, for example, operate within a highly organized colony, where the queen bee reigns supreme, while worker bees engage in cooperative behaviors to protect the hive, gather food, and care for the queen's offspring. The ruling behavior in these species is not about individual dominance, but rather about collective roles within the community, which is essential for survival. Ants, similarly, display a division of labor, with some specializing in foraging, while others focus on defense or nursery duties, highlighting the importance of teamwork over individual leadership. Moreover, the ruling behaviors of flying animals can also be influenced by their mating strategies. For many bird species, males often engage in elaborate courtship displays, such as the peacock's vibrant tail feathers or the intricate songs of songbirds, to attract females. These displays can indicate the male's health and genetic fitness, thus influencing which individuals successfully mate and pass on their traits. In contrast, some species, like certain types of bats, engage in more subtle behaviors, where males may establish territories with rich food sources, showcasing their ability to provide for potential mates, which is a different form of ruling behavior rooted in resource availability. Additionally, migratory patterns can also play a role in how flying animals exhibit ruling behaviors. For example, many bird species migrate in flocks, where leadership roles can shift during the journey. The lead bird, often the most experienced, guides the flock through changing landscapes, and when it comes time to rest or feed, the dynamics within the group can change as younger or stronger individuals may take over leadership roles. This flexibility in ruling behavior allows for greater adaptability to environmental challenges, showcasing the intelligence and social complexity of these creatures. In the marine world, flying fish are an intriguing example. In the fascinating world of nature, the concept of dominance plays a significant role, especially among various species of birds and bats, showcasing how these creatures interact within their habitats. Dominance can manifest in several ways, from physical size to aggressive behavior, and even through vocalizations that establish territory. For instance, in bird populations, larger species often dominate smaller ones, claiming prime nesting sites and feeding areas. A classic example is the American crow, which, due to its size, can assert dominance over smaller birds like sparrows, chasing them away from food sources or nesting areas. This behavior is not merely a quest for food, it's a critical survival strategy, helping them ensure their offspring have the best chances of thriving. In the realm of bats, dominance often appears through social structures and colonies. Some species, like the Mexican free-tailed bat, exhibit a hierarchy where dominant males mate with multiple females, ensuring that their genes are passed on. This dominance can also be linked to roosting preferences, with more dominant bats occupying the warmer, more sheltered spots within a roost, while subordinates may have to settle for less favorable locations. Such behavior illustrates a complex social dynamic where competition for resources, space, and mates drives the interactions within bat populations. Moreover, vocal communication plays a crucial role in establishing dominance among birds. Many species use calls and songs not only to attract mates, but also to assert their presence in an area. The vibrant songs of male songbirds, for example, serve to ward off rivals while simultaneously attracting females. In some cases, the loudness and complexity of a song can indicate the health and vitality of the singer, which in turn can influence their dominance over others. Similarly, in the realm of bats, echolocation calls can be a form of dominance display, where more experienced or larger individuals may have the ability to navigate and hunt more effectively, thereby asserting their dominance within the group. Furthermore, the concept of dominance can also be seen in the foraging behavior of these species. In mixed species flocks of birds, dominant species often dictate the foraging order, allowing them first access to food resources. This behavior is not just about competition. It also leads to a balance in the ecosystem, as different species learn to adapt their feeding strategies based on the dominance hierarchy present. Meanwhile, in bats, competition for food can lead to fascinating adaptations. For instance, some species might develop specialized feeding techniques, such as gleaning insects off leaves, allowing social structures among bird species, such as flocks or colonies, play a crucial role in shaping leadership roles, influencing how birds interact, communicate, and make decisions together, which is fascinating to observe. In many bird species, being part of a flock offers protection from predators, as there is safety in numbers, and this communal living leads to unique social dynamics. For example, in species like the European starling, flocks can reach thousands of individuals, creating a complex social network where certain birds emerge as leaders based on experience and knowledge of the environment. It's intriguing to see how these leaders often guide the flock to feeding areas or safer nesting sites, demonstrating a form of social influence that is vital for the survival of the group. Moreover, within these flocks, leadership can be fluid, changing based on circumstances. For instance, in a situation where food is scarce, a more experienced bird might take the lead, while in times of danger, a different bird with better awareness might step up to guide the flock to safety. This adaptability not only highlights the importance of individual skills, but also emphasizes how social structures allow for a shared leadership model, where different birds can take turns leading depending on the context. In some species, like the African gray parrot, social hierarchies can also dictate leadership roles, where more dominant birds gain respect and followers, thus influencing group decisions. The communication within these social structures plays a significant role in determining leadership, as birds often use calls, body language, and even visual displays to express their intentions and assert their position in the social hierarchy. For instance, in a colony of seabirds, vocalizations can signal the presence of a leader, and other birds will often follow their lead during foraging trips or when responding to threats. This reliance on communication fosters a more organized approach to leadership, allowing the group to function cohesively, especially in the face of challenges like predators or environmental changes. Additionally, the presence of strong bonds among flock members can impact leadership dynamics, as birds that have established relationships may be more inclined to follow certain individuals. In species such as the red-crowned crane, family units often exhibit a clear leadership structure, where parental figures lead their young during migration and teach them vital survival skills. This nurturing aspect of leadership not only ensures the continuation of knowledge, but also strengthens social ties within the group, creating a more unified front against external threats. Interestingly, research shows that social structures can also influence the mental capabilities of birds, as those that engage in environmental factors play a crucial role in determining which species thrive in a particular region. And these factors include habitat characteristics, food availability, climate, and even interactions with other species. When we talk about habitat, we mean the natural environment where an organism lives, which consists of both biotic factors, like plants and other animals, and abiotic factors, such as soil, water, and climate. Each species has specific habitat needs, so if the conditions of a habitat align well with those needs, that species is more likely to flourish. For example, in a dense forest, species that require cover in a humid environment, such as certain types of birds and insects, will dominate, while in open grasslands, species adapted to those conditions, like grazers and burrowing animals, will be more prevalent. Food availability is another critical factor, influencing not only which species can survive, but also how many individuals of that species can exist in a particular area. A region rich in diverse plant life will support a variety of herbivores, which in turn can support a range of carnivores. If a particular food source becomes scarce, such as when a drought affects plant growth, the species that depend on those plants may decline, leading to a shift in the dominance of other species that can thrive on alternative food sources. Thus, the dynamics of food webs are closely linked to the health of the habitat and the availability of resources. Climate also significantly impacts species dominance. For example, in tropical rainforests, the warm temperatures and high humidity allow a vast array of species to coexist, while in desert regions, only those specially adapted to extreme conditions can survive. Seasonal changes can also affect food availability and habitat conditions, leading to fluctuations in which species are most dominant at different times of the year. Furthermore, the interactions between species, such as competition and predation, can create a complex web of relationships that influence dominance. In areas where one species has a competitive advantage, it may outcompete others for resources, leading to a greater population density of that species. Additionally, human activities are altering habitats and food availability, leading to shifts in species dominance. Deforestation, urbanization, and pollution can degrade natural habitats, making them less suitable for native species and allowing invasive species to take over. Invasive species often thrive in disturbed environments because they may lack natural predators and can exploit resources more effectively than native species. This can lead to a dramatic change in the ecosystem, where native species decline and invasive. In the fascinating world of flying animals, size can play a significant role in determining the hierarchy among them, especially when we consider raptors like eagles and hawks. Raptors, known for their keen eyesight, sharp talons, and powerful beaks, often inhabit similar environments, which can lead to competition for food and territory. When it comes to size, larger raptors, such as eagles, tend to dominate their smaller relatives like hawks in several ways. The larger body size not only allows eagles to hunt bigger prey, but also gives them an advantage in physical confrontations. For instance, an eagle's wingspan can be much greater than that of a hawk, enabling it to soar at higher altitudes and cover more ground while searching for food. This ability to travel farther can lead to a more abundant food supply, reinforcing its dominant position. Moreover, the size of a raptor often correlates with its hunting strategy and prey selection. Larger raptors, such as the golden eagle, can take down larger mammals, including rabbits and even young deer, while smaller hawks might focus primarily on smaller birds and rodents. This division of prey types can reduce direct competition between different species, allowing each to thrive in its ecological niche. In addition, the size of a raptor can influence its nesting behavior, with larger species often building more substantial nests that can accommodate larger broods or provide better protection from the elements and predators. Social dynamics also come into play, as size can affect mating success. In many raptor species, larger males may be more attractive to females, who often prefer mates that can provide better protection and food for their young. This preference can further enhance the size advantage in the hierarchy, as larger males successfully mate and pass on their genes to the next generation, perpetuating the trend. Interestingly, size is not the only factor influencing the hierarchy. Behavior, agility, and even personality traits can come into play. Smaller raptors may be more agile and can maneuver through dense forests and brush, allowing them to catch prey that larger raptors may struggle to hunt. This adaptability can level the playing field in certain situations, demonstrating that size, while important, is just one piece of the puzzle in the complex interactions among flying animals. The relationships among raptors illustrate the delicate balance of power in nature, where size, skill, and strategy all contribute to survival and success in the wild. Migratory patterns among bird species, as well as other flying animals, play a significant role in shaping the dynamics of power and competition in various ecosystems. When we think about migration, we often imagine flocks of birds traveling thousands of miles. But this movement is not just about finding food or suitable breeding grounds. It also influences which species dominate certain areas during specific seasons. For instance, during migration, some species may arrive at their breeding grounds earlier than others, giving them a head start on nesting and securing territories. This can lead to increased competition among species that might otherwise coexist peacefully if they were all present year-round. The timing of migration is crucial, as it can affect resource availability. Species that migrate at different times may reduce direct competition for food and nesting sites. For example, some shorebirds migrate to coastal areas during the spring and summer, while others arrive later in the season. This staggering of arrival times allows different species to exploit the same habitat without directly competing for the same resources at the same time. However, if two species arrive simultaneously, the competition can become fierce, leading to aggressive interactions, territorial disputes, and, in some cases, a shift in the balance of power within that environment. Additionally, migratory birds often rely on specific stopover sites during their journeys, which are critical for resting and refueling. These stopover sites can become hotspots of competition, as various species may converge in these areas to take advantage of the abundant resources. Dominant species may assert their presence at these locations, pushing out weaker competitors, thus reinforcing their power during the migration period. The competition at these stopover points can also dictate whether certain species will be able to successfully complete their migratory journey or face challenges that could impact their survival. The effects of migratory patterns on power dynamics also extend to predator-prey relationships. For example, raptors, which may migrate to areas where prey species are abundant, can influence the population dynamics of those prey species. If a raptor species migrates into an area and finds an ample food supply, it may thrive and increase its population, which in turn can further affect the competition among smaller birds and other flying creatures in that ecosystem. Moreover, climate change is altering migratory patterns for many species, leading to shifts in the timing of migrations and the availability of resources. Some birds may find themselves migrating earlier or later than usual, which can create mismatches with their food sources or breeding conditions. This can disrupt established power dynamics as species. In the intricate world of bird communities, vocalizations and calls play a crucial role in establishing dominance, creating a hierarchy that helps maintain social order among different species and individuals. When birds sing or call, they are not merely making noise. They are communicating vital information about their presence, their health, and their territorial boundaries. For instance, many species, such as song sparrows, utilize distinct songs to mark their territory, signaling to others that a particular area is occupied, and serving as a warning to potential intruders. This vocal display can deter rivals, as an impressive song often indicates a strong, healthy bird ready to defend its territory, which can discourage others from encroaching. Additionally, calls can serve various functions beyond mere territorial claims. In many bird species, vocalizations are used during mating seasons to attract partners, with males often competing to produce the most beautiful and complex songs. This competition not only showcases their fitness, but also reinforces their status within the community. The more skilled a singer, the more likely they are to attract mates, thereby passing on their genes. In this way, vocalizations become a critical part of the natural selection process, influencing which traits are favored over generations. Furthermore, in communal species, such as crows and parrots, calls may help establish social hierarchies within groups, allowing individuals to assert their dominance or submit to others. These vocal exchanges can foster cooperation as well, enabling members of the group to coordinate activities like foraging or warning of predators. Some species even have specific calls that signal different threats, allowing the flock to respond appropriately, which can enhance survival rates. In addition to these social dynamics, vocalizations can also reflect environmental conditions, with birds adjusting their calls based on factors like habitat density, the presence of background noise, or even the time of day. For example, in dense forests where sounds can be easily muffled, birds may develop lower frequency calls that travel farther, ensuring their messages reach other birds. This adaptability highlights the importance of vocalizations not only in establishing dominance, but also in navigating the complexities of their habitats. Moreover, the phenomenon of duets, where two birds sing together, often seen in species like the superb lyrebird, can reinforce pair bonds and assert territory more effectively than solo performances. This cooperative vocalization can intimidate rivals and create a powerful auditory presence in the environment, further solidifying the pair's dominance. In essence, vocalizations and calls are sophisticated tools that, in the world of flying animals, mating rituals and displays play a crucial role in determining the social and reproductive status of both males and females, impacting their interactions and hierarchies within their species. For many birds, such as peacocks, the male's elaborate tail feathers are not just for show. They are a symbol of health and vitality, showcasing the male's genetic fitness to potential mates. The more vibrant and larger the tail, the more attractive the male appears, which can lead to increased mating opportunities and, ultimately, a higher status within the flock. This phenomenon is known as sexual selection, where individuals with certain traits are favored in the mating process, influencing their success in passing on their genes. In contrast, female flying animals often engage in their own displays and rituals, though these can differ greatly from their male counterparts. For instance, in many species, females may choose mates based on the male's ability to perform complex aerial displays or elaborate songs. The intricacy of these performances can indicate not only the male's physical prowess, but also his ability to provide resources or care for offspring. The female's choice heavily influences which males gain mating rights, thereby establishing a hierarchy among the males based on their ability to impress. Moreover, some species, like certain types of songbirds, utilize territory establishment as a display tactic. Males may sing loudly and frequently to defend their territory, which indirectly serves as an invitation for females to assess their strength and suitability as mates. The size and quality of the territory, combined with the song's complexity, can elevate a male's status among rivals and attract more females, creating a competitive environment where displays directly influence social ranking. Interestingly, in some species, such as the white-throated sparrow, females can exhibit a form of dominance through their choice of mates, often preferring males that display strong territorial behavior. This dynamic can lead to a unique balance of power, where females exert influence over male competition, leading to a complex social structure that goes beyond simple attraction. In migratory birds, the timing of mating displays can also affect social status. For example, males that arrive earlier at breeding grounds may establish territories and attract mates before their rivals, thereby securing a higher status. This phenomenon showcases the interplay between environmental factors and social behaviors, as the timing of displays can determine reproductive success and influence the social hierarchy. Overall, the mating rituals and displays of flying animals are not merely about attraction. They're essential for establishing dominance, securing mating opportunities. In the vast expanse of nature, many species of birds and insects have developed fascinating and unique strategies to defend their territories from rivals, showcasing the remarkable adaptability and instinctive behaviors that drive their survival. One of the most interesting methods employed by birds, particularly those like the American robin and the red-winged blackbird, is the use of aggressive vocalizations, which serve not only to assert their presence but also to intimidate potential intruders. These birds often sing loud, distinct songs from high perches, broadcasting their claims over vast distances, effectively warning rivals to stay away. In addition to vocalizations, some species engage in physical displays. For instance, the male eastern bluebird will puff up his feathers and spread his wings wide, presenting a formidable figure to any approaching competitor, signaling dominance and readiness to defend his territory. In contrast, certain species of hummingbirds exhibit a different, yet equally fascinating approach. They often engage in aerial acrobatics, darting and diving in a spectacular show of agility which can be both mesmerizing and intimidating. By showcasing their speed and maneuverability, they can deter rivals without direct confrontation. Similarly, some species, like the barn swallow, utilize their swift flight patterns to chase away intruders, often engaging in persistent pursuit that can last several minutes, effectively communicating that they will not back down from protecting their nesting sites. Among insects, particularly in the world of bees and ants, territorial defense takes on another dimension. For instance, some species of bees will defend their hives with remarkable teamwork, where guard bees will patrol the area, and upon spotting a rival, they will release alarm pheromones to alert fellow hive members. This chemical warning prompts a coordinated defense, where many bees will join in to fend off the intruder, showcasing a blend of communication and collective action that is quite effective. Ants also employ similar strategies, with soldier ants protecting their nests vigorously, often attacking intruders with powerful mandibles, or by swarming them, demonstrating a level of organization that is crucial for their survival. Moreover, some species use deception as a strategy for territorial defense. The lyrebird, renowned for its exceptional mimicry, can imitate the calls of other birds, including predators, to create confusion among rivals. This clever tactic can cause potential threats to flee, believing they are in danger, thus allowing the lyrebird to maintain its territory without direct confrontation. Another remarkable example is the use of Visual signals. Many bird species, such as in the fascinating world of social birds, the concept of alpha individuals plays a crucial role in shaping their communities, showcasing how these creatures form intricate social structures that can be quite similar, yet distinctly different across species. In many bird species, particularly within the parrot and crow families, we often observe a hierarchy where certain individuals, often referred to as alpha, take on leadership roles, guiding their flock, making decisions, and influencing the behavior of others. In parrots, for instance, the alpha bird is typically the one that leads the group to food sources, calls out warnings during potential dangers, and often engages in more prominent social interactions. These alpha individuals are usually characterized by their strong personalities, intelligence, and sometimes their physical size, which can give them an edge in both foraging and social interactions. In contrast, crows exhibit a slightly different manifestation of alpha behavior. Crows are known for their remarkable intelligence, and within their social structures, the alpha roles can shift depending on the situation. For example, during foraging, one crow might take the lead based on its knowledge of the area, while in other circumstances, another individual may assume the alpha role based on its experience or strength. This flexibility allows crows to adapt to changing environments, demonstrating that leadership can be situational rather than fixed. Interestingly, both parrots and crows can engage in cooperative breeding, where alpha individuals may help raise the young of others in the group, fostering a sense of community and shared responsibility. This concept of alpha behavior is not just about dominance. It also involves social bonds, communication, and cooperation, showing us that the dynamics among these birds are far more complex than they might initially appear. For example, among parrots, the alpha may often be the one that engages in social grooming, a behavior crucial for maintaining bonds within the flock, thus reinforcing its position not just through strength or decision-making, but also through nurturing relationships. Meanwhile, crows are known to use a variety of vocalizations and even physical gestures to communicate their status and intentions, which can play a significant role in maintaining their social hierarchy. Moreover, researchers have found that the presence of alpha individuals can enhance the overall success of the group, particularly in terms of accessing resources and avoiding predators. The leadership of an alpha can lead to more efficient foraging strategies, where the knowledge and experience of the alpha individual can be shared with the rest of the flock, allowing them to thrive in their environment. Ecological niches play a crucial role in determining how different flying species compete and coexist in a shared environment, as each species has adapted to occupy a specific niche that provides it with the resources it needs to survive. For instance, consider the diverse array of birds found in a rainforest, where some species, like the harpy eagle, soar high above the canopy, while others, such as hummingbirds, flit among the flowers at lower levels. This vertical stratification allows these birds to exploit different food sources, minimizing direct competition for resources. Each species has evolved unique adaptations, such as beak, shape, and size, that enable them to access specific types of food, whether it's nectar, insects, or other small animals, thereby reducing overlap in their diets. In addition to food, ecological niches also encompass factors like nesting sites and territorial boundaries. For example, some birds may prefer to nest in tree hollows, while others might choose to build their nests in open areas. This preference affects how species interact with one another, as they compete not only for food but also for safe places to raise their young. In some cases, aggressive species, like the blue jay, may dominate certain areas, pushing less aggressive species to the fringes of their habitat, where they might find less competition. This dynamic illustrates the concept of competitive exclusion, where one species outcompetes another for resources, leading to a shift in population distributions within the ecosystem. Moreover, seasonal changes and migratory patterns can further influence competition among flying species. For instance, during migration, certain birds might arrive earlier in the spring, establishing territories before others arrive. This early arrival can give them a competitive edge, allowing them to claim the best nesting sites and feeding grounds. Conversely, some species adapt by timing their breeding or feeding strategies to align with the presence of migratory species, thereby avoiding direct competition during critical periods. Additionally, the concept of mutualism can also be observed among flying species, where certain birds may benefit from the presence of others. For example, some larger birds create disturbances in the underbrush as they search for food, which can inadvertently flush out insects that smaller birds can then easily catch. This relationship illustrates how ecological niches not only shape competition, but also foster cooperative interactions among species in a shared environment. The role of ecological niches is further complicated by environmental changes, such as habitat destruction and climate change, which can alter the availability of resources. As habitats shrink, competition can intensify, leading to shifts in species dominance. Urbanization and climate change have profound effects on the power dynamics within communities of flying animals, reshaping their behaviors, habitats, and interactions in complex ways. As cities expand, natural habitats are often destroyed or fragmented, leading to a loss of resources that many bird species rely on for food and nesting. For instance, the construction of buildings and roads can limit access to trees and open spaces, causing some species to decline, while others, like pigeons and sparrows, thrive in urban environments, adapting to new sources of food and shelter. This shift can alter the balance of power among flying animals, as some species become more dominant in urban areas while others struggle to survive. Climate change, on the other hand, introduces additional challenges, such as changing temperatures and shifting weather patterns, which can disrupt migration routes and breeding seasons. For example, many migratory birds rely on specific cues from their environment to time their journeys, and as these cues change, the timing of migrations can become misaligned with the availability of food sources, such as insects or flowering plants. This can lead to increased competition among species, as those that arrive too early or too late may find fewer resources, shifting the power dynamics within the community. Moreover, climate change can lead to the expansion of certain species into new territories, as warmer temperatures create suitable habitats in areas previously uninhabitable. This can result in increased competition for resources, as flying animals that were once confined to specific regions now find themselves in direct competition with established species. For instance, some birds may move northward in search of cooler climates, causing potential conflicts with local species that have adapted to those environments. Additionally, the effects of climate change can also influence the availability of nesting sites. As natural habitats change, the types of vegetation that provide safe nesting areas for many flying animals can be altered or removed. For example, some birds rely on specific tree species for nesting, and if those trees are affected by diseases or climate-related stress, it can lead to decreased breeding success and altered social structures within their communities. This can have cascading effects, as reduced breeding success may lead to smaller populations, which can further shift the balance of power among competing species. Urbanization often brings about increased predation pressure as well. Domestic cats and other introduced species thrive in urban settings, preying on local bird populations and altering the dynamics of survival. Birds that are more adept at avoiding predators may find themselves at an advantage, while those that are less cautious may see their numbers. Predators play a crucial role in shaping the behavior and ruling strategies of flying animals within an ecosystem, influencing everything from their feeding habits to their social interactions. In environments where predators are present, flying animals, such as birds, often adapt their behaviors to minimize the risk of predation. For instance, many species of birds will alter their foraging habits, choosing times and locations that reduce their exposure to predators. This means that they might feed in dense vegetation or during times of day when predators are less active, like early morning or late evening, which can be quite different from when they might typically be more active. Additionally, the threat of predation can lead to the development of specific social structures among flying animals. In some cases, birds may flock together as there is safety in numbers. This behavior, known as flocking, can confuse predators and make it harder for them to target an individual bird. Moreover, the presence of certain predators can influence the size and composition of these flocks, as smaller or more vulnerable species might band together for protection, while larger, more dominant species might establish themselves as leaders within these groups. Not only do predators impact the daily activities of flying animals, but they can also affect their reproductive strategies. Many birds will choose nesting sites that are less accessible to predators, which often means selecting locations that are higher off the ground or in more secluded areas. This can lead to a decrease in reproductive success if suitable nesting sites become scarce, as flying animals have to balance the need for safe nesting locations with the availability of food and other resources. In ecosystems where certain predators are absent, flying animals may exhibit riskier behaviors such as foraging in more open areas or nesting in locations that are easier to access but also more vulnerable to predation. This can lead to higher reproductive rates in the short term, but can also result in population booms that may not be sustainable long term if predator populations return or if other environmental pressures arise. Furthermore, the presence of predators often drives the evolution of various anti-predator adaptations in flying animals. For example, some species have developed remarkable camouflage, allowing them to blend into their surroundings, while others have evolved alarm calls that alert their flock to the presence of danger. These adaptations are not just about survival. They also influence communication and social dynamics within species, as individuals must work together to alert each other to threats. Overall, the intricate balance between flying animals and their predators creates a dynamic environment where behaviors, parasitism, and disease can significantly influence the hierarchy of flying animal groups, affecting their population dynamics, behavior, and even their ecological roles. When we talk about parasitism, we refer to a relationship where one organism, the parasite, benefits at the expense of another organism, the host. This relationship can lead to various outcomes for both parties involved. In flying animals, such as birds and bats, parasitic infections can weaken individuals, making them more susceptible to predation and reducing their reproductive success. For instance, if a bird is infected with a parasite that affects its ability to forage effectively, it might not gather enough food to sustain itself or raise its young, leading to fewer offspring and a potential decline in its population within the hierarchy. Diseases can have similar, if not more severe, consequences. Outbreaks of diseases can sweep through populations of flying animals, sometimes leading to significant mortality rates. For example, the West Nile virus has had a notable impact on bird populations in North America, affecting various species, especially corvids, and altering their population structure within ecosystems. When a disease causes a decline in a specific group, it can create opportunities for other species to rise in dominance, thus reshaping the hierarchy. Moreover, when a dominant species is heavily impacted by disease, subordinate species may fill ecological niches that were previously occupied, leading to shifts in competition and resource use. On a broader scale, these impacts can trigger changes in community interactions, where the balance between predator and prey, or between competitors, can be disrupted. For example, if a certain species of bat is heavily parasitized, it may struggle to hunt effectively, leading to an increase in the insect populations they typically control. This imbalance can ripple through the ecosystem, affecting plants, other animal species, and even the health of the environment itself. In addition, social structures within flying animal groups can be affected as well. Many birds, for instance, have complex social hierarchies, and the presence of disease or a high load of parasites can alter the dynamics, leading to changes in mating behaviors, territory establishment, and flocking patterns. Some species may even exhibit behaviors aimed at reducing parasite loads, such as allopreening, where individuals clean each other's feathers, which can foster social bonds but also highlight the importance of health within group dynamics. Parasitism and disease also play a role in the evolutionary pressures faced by flying animals. Those individuals that can better resist infections or recover quickly may be favored. Flying animals, such as birds, bats, and insects, often display fascinating cooperative behaviors that challenge our traditional understanding of dominance and individualism in the animal kingdom. For instance, when we observe flocks of birds, like starlings, performing breathtaking aerial displays known as murmurations, it becomes clear that these formations are not the result of a single leader directing the group, but rather a complex interaction among individuals. Each bird, while free to make its own decisions, is influenced by the movements of its neighbors, creating a fluid, dynamic system where cooperation is essential for maintaining the group's cohesion and evading predators. This phenomenon highlights how collective behavior can emerge from simple rules followed by individual animals, leading to sophisticated patterns that seem to defy the idea of a dominant individual steering the entire group. Similarly, bats exhibit cooperative behaviors while foraging, especially in species like the Mexican free-tailed bat. These bats often hunt in groups, and while they do compete for food, studies have shown that they also engage in cooperative hunting, where they work together to drive insects toward one another, increasing their chances of capturing prey. This cooperation is crucial, especially in environments where food is scarce, and it illustrates how social interactions can benefit the entire group, rather than just individual bats. In the world of insects, honeybees present another striking example of cooperative behavior. In a hive, bees work together seamlessly to ensure the survival of their colony, with each member having specific roles, such as foragers, nurses, and guards. The decision-making process in a bee colony often involves collective input, where the bees communicate through dances to share information about food sources and potential hive sites. This democratic approach to decision-making underscores how cooperation can lead to better outcomes for the group, challenging the notion that individual dominance is the key to success in nature. Moreover, certain species of fish, like the cleaner wrasse, engage in mutualistic relationships that exemplify cooperative behaviors. These small fish set up cleaning stations where larger fish come to have parasites removed from their bodies. While the wrasse benefits from the food source, the larger fish gain health advantages, highlighting how cooperation can create win-win situations in the animal world. These examples demonstrate that in many flying animals, cooperation is not just a supplementary behavior, but a fundamental aspect of their survival strategies. Rather than adhering to a strict hierarchy or a model of individual dominance, these species show us that living in groups and working together can be more advantageous, allowing them to. Intelligence plays a crucial role in the social dynamics of flying animals, especially among species that are renowned for their problem-solving skills, such as crows, parrots, and certain species of pigeons. These birds exhibit a wide range of cognitive abilities, allowing them to navigate complex social interactions, develop intricate relationships within their groups, and adapt to changing environments. For instance, crows, which are part of the corvid family, have demonstrated remarkable problem-solving capabilities, from using tools to access food to even planning for future needs, showcasing a level of foresight that is quite rare in the animal kingdom. This intelligence enables them to establish social hierarchies, as they can assess the strengths and weaknesses of their peers, forming alliances or competing for resources based on their understanding of social cues. Parrots, known for their vocal mimicry and social nature, also exhibit advanced cognitive skills, allowing them to engage in cooperative behaviors. These birds often work together to achieve common goals, such as finding food or protecting their young, which fosters a strong sense of community and communication within their flocks. Their ability to learn from one another, as well as to adapt their behavior based on past experiences, is essential for maintaining social bonds and promoting cooperation among individuals. In essence, the intelligence of these flying animals not only aids in their survival, but also enriches their social structures. For example, certain species of pigeons are known to recognize individual faces, which is vital for maintaining social relationships within their groups. This recognition ability contributes to their social dynamics, as it enhances their capacity to form long-lasting bonds and navigate complex social networks. The interplay of intelligence and social behavior in these birds highlights the importance of cognitive skills in fostering cooperation, competition, and social learning, ultimately shaping the way these species interact with each other in their environment. Moreover, the social dynamics among flying animals can be influenced by their problem-solving abilities during foraging. Birds that can solve puzzles or find innovative ways to access food often lead their peers, creating a dynamic in which intelligence becomes a valuable asset. This can result in a social learning environment where younger or less experienced birds observe and imitate the successful strategies of their more intelligent counterparts, enhancing their own problem-solving skills over time. In conclusion, the intelligence of flying animals significantly affects their social interactions, influencing everything from cooperation to competition, and ultimately shaping the intricate dynamics of their communities. This fascinating interplay between intelligence and social behavior underscores the complexity of avian life. Bees and wasps, while both belonging to the order Hymenoptera, exhibit fascinating differences in how they organize their colonies, and these differences reflect unique ruling systems that help ensure their survival and efficiency. Honeybees, for instance, live in highly structured colonies that can contain up to 80 individuals. Their social organization is remarkably complex, with a clear division of labor among workers, drones, and a single queen. The queen, whose primary role is to lay eggs, is supported by a multitude of worker bees, which are responsible for foraging, nursing the young, and maintaining the hive. Communication within the colony is vital, and honeybees use a sophisticated system of dances, particularly the waggle dance, to convey information about the location of food sources. This indicates a democratic approach where the collective effort of the workers directly influences the success of the colony, showcasing a ruling system based on cooperation and shared responsibilities. In contrast, many wasp species, such as yellow jackets, tend to have smaller colonies, often ranging from a few dozen to a few thousand individuals. Their social structure is less rigid than that of honeybees. While wasps also have a queen, the division of labor is not as pronounced, and many wasps engage in similar tasks. The queen's role is still to lay eggs, but the workers do not have the same specialized roles as honeybee workers. They often share duties and can switch between foraging and caring for the young as needed. This flexibility allows wasp colonies to adapt quickly to changing environmental conditions or resource availability, reflecting a ruling system that emphasizes adaptability over strict hierarchy. Interestingly, some solitary wasp species do not form colonies at all, choosing instead to live independently, which further highlights the diversity of social structures within this group. These solitary wasps build individual nests and care for their offspring without the support of a colony, demonstrating a completely different approach to survival and reproduction. The existence of both social and solitary species among wasps illustrates the various strategies that insects can adopt depending on their ecological niches and the resources at their disposal. Moreover, the way these insects defend their colonies also varies significantly. Honeybees, when threatened, will usually defend their hive aggressively, using their stingers to protect the colony, knowing that this self-sacrifice can help ensure the survival of the hive. Wasps, on the other hand, can often be more aggressive on an individual basis, and their ability to sting multiple times. Parental care and nurturing behaviors play a crucial role in shaping the social structures among flying species, particularly in birds and certain types of bats. In many of these species, the way parents care for their young influences not just the survival of the offspring, but also the dynamics within their communities. For instance, in some bird species, such as the highly social African gray parrot, the level of parental investment can affect the development of social bonds within flocks. When parents are attentive, provide ample food and protection, their chicks tend to grow up with stronger social skills, which helps them form alliances and establish hierarchies in their later lives. This nurturing behavior can lead to a more cohesive social structure, as individuals who are well cared for are often better at cooperating with others, sharing resources, and even helping to rear the young of their peers, a phenomenon known as alloparenting. In contrast, in species where parental care is minimal or absent, such as in many seabirds, the social structures can be quite different. These birds often have looser associations and may rely more on individual survival strategies rather than cohesive group dynamics. For example, the albatross, which invests a great deal of time in nurturing its young through a long courtship and a lengthy period of parental care, tends to have strong pair bonds that can last for life, which reinforces stable social units. This stability allows for complex social interactions, where individuals recognize their mates and their offspring, fostering a sense of community among them. Moreover, in species like the greater ani, which practices cooperative breeding, parental care is shared among multiple adults, not just the biological parents. This behavior enhances the social structure significantly, as it creates a network of helpers who contribute to the feeding and protection of the chicks. Such cooperation can increase overall survival rates and strengthen the ties within the group, as individuals work together for the common good. This type of social structure fosters relationships that can persist over time, leading to more intricate social networks. In some bat species, parental care also influences social dynamics, especially among those that roost in large colonies. The level of maternal care can determine the bonds among individuals, as mothers that are attentive to their pups not only enhance their survival, but also create a tighter-knit community. Young bats learn social behaviors from their mothers and other adults, which can affect their future interactions within the colony. This learning process is essential, as it helps establish social hierarchies and communication patterns that are vital for the scavenging birds, such as vultures, exhibit a fascinating range of behaviors that are quite different from those of predatory birds, like eagles and hawks. One of the most striking aspects of vultures is their social structure, which is heavily influenced by hierarchy, while predatory birds often display solitary or loosely organized behaviors. Vultures typically gather in groups, especially when feeding, and these groups can be quite large, sometimes numbering in the dozens or even hundreds. Within these groups, a clear hierarchy emerges, with dominant individuals, often the largest or most experienced birds, having priority access to food. This social ranking helps to reduce conflict, as the lower-ranking vultures will wait their turn, often allowing the dominant birds to feed first. In contrast, many predatory birds are solitary hunters, relying on their keen eyesight and powerful hunting skills to catch their prey. They may work in pairs or small groups during breeding seasons or when defending territory, but they do not rely on a social hierarchy to access food, as they are more likely to hunt and consume their catch alone. Moreover, the feeding behaviors of vultures are adapted to their scavenging lifestyle. They possess excellent eyesight, enabling them to spot carcasses from great distances. Once they find a food source, their social hierarchy helps them to efficiently access the meat, as they can communicate with each other through various vocalizations and body language, signaling their intentions. This communication is essential, as it minimizes aggression among the birds and ensures that everyone has the opportunity to eat, albeit in a structured manner. Predatory birds, on the other hand, often rely on stealth and speed, using their sharp talons and beaks to capture live prey. Their feeding strategies are less reliant on social interaction, as they are more focused on the individual skill of hunting and capturing their food. Additionally, scavenging birds play an important ecological role by cleaning up the environment, preventing the spread of disease by consuming dead animals that would otherwise decay and possibly harbor pathogens. Their hierarchy is not just a social construct, but it also contributes to the overall health of the ecosystem. Predatory birds, while also important, often focus on controlling populations of smaller animals, maintaining a balance in their habitats. Therefore, the behaviors of scavenging birds, like vultures, highlight a unique social order that prioritizes group dynamics and communal feeding, contrasting sharply with the more solitary and aggressive behaviors typical of predatory birds, establishing different ecological niches and interactions within the AV. Evolutionary adaptations in flying animals are truly fascinating, as they have developed unique features that enable them to thrive in various ecological niches. One of the most significant adaptations is the evolution of lightweight bones, which allow these animals to maintain a lower body weight, making it easier for them to take to the skies. For instance, birds possess hollow bones, which reduce their overall mass, while still providing the necessary strength to withstand the forces of flight. Additionally, the development of feathers has been crucial. Feathers not only provide insulation, helping to regulate body temperature, but also create lift and allow for intricate maneuvering during flight. Another key adaptation is the shape and structure of the wings, which can vary greatly among different species depending on their specific habitats and lifestyles. For example, birds like the albatross have long, narrow wings that enable them to glide for hours over the ocean, using minimal energy, while hummingbirds have short, wide wings that allow for rapid, agile movements and the ability to hover in front of flowers to feed on nectar. This diversity in wing morphology illustrates how flying animals have adapted their flight mechanics to suit their ecological roles. Moreover, the respiratory system of flying animals is highly specialized. Birds, for instance, have a unique system of air sacs that allows for a continuous flow of air through their lungs, maximizing oxygen intake during both inhalation and exhalation. This adaptation is vital, as flying requires a significant amount of energy, and having an efficient respiratory system supports their high metabolic rates during flight. In addition to physical adaptations, behavioral adaptations also play a crucial role in how flying animals dominate their niches. Some species have developed migratory patterns that allow them to exploit seasonal resources, traveling long distances to find food or suitable breeding grounds. For example, the Arctic tern migrates from its breeding grounds in the Arctic to winter in the Antarctic, demonstrating an incredible adaptation to seasonal changes and resource availability. Social behaviors, such as flocking, also contribute to their success. Flying in groups can enhance foraging efficiency and provide protection from predators, as there's safety in numbers. Birds like starlings exhibit this behavior, creating mesmerizing aerial displays known as murmurations, which can confuse predators and make it harder for them to target an individual bird. Lastly, some flying animals have developed keen sensory adaptations that enhance their ability to locate food, navigate, and avoid dangers. For instance, raptors like hawks have exceptional eyesight, allowing them to spot prey from great distances. Kin selection, a fascinating aspect of evolutionary biology, plays a significant role in shaping the social structures and ruling dynamics within flocks of birds. This concept suggests that individuals are more likely to help relatives, because by supporting their kin, they increase the chances of shared genes being passed on to future generations. In bird flocks, this often manifests in complex social behaviors, where certain individuals, usually those that are closely related, will take on roles that benefit the entire group rather than just themselves. For example, in species like the African naked mole rat or some species of birds, you might find that certain members are more inclined to help raise the young of their siblings rather than reproducing themselves, which is a direct reflection of kin selection at work. In flocks of birds, this can lead to a hierarchy, where dominant individuals are often those that are more closely related to the others in the group, creating a cooperative environment that enhances survival. When a dominant bird, such as an alpha male or female, is surrounded by kin, it may be more effective at defending the flock from predators, finding food, or choosing nesting sites, because the well-being of its relatives is directly connected to its own success. This kinship ties the group together, as each bird's actions can ultimately impact the survival of its genes, and thus, the dynamics of leadership can be influenced by these family ties. Moreover, in flocks where kin selection is strong, you might observe behaviors such as cooperative breeding, where non-breeding individuals assist in the care of the young, thus ensuring that their genetic legacy continues through their siblings' offspring. This can create a more cohesive unit, where the birds work together seamlessly, sharing responsibilities and resources, thereby enhancing the overall fitness of the group. The dynamics within these flocks can become quite intricate, as birds communicate and establish roles based on these relationships, leading to a fluid hierarchy that is not solely based on aggression or size, but rather on familial bonds. Interestingly, kin selection can also lead to conflicts, as sometimes the interests of individuals may clash, especially in larger groups where not all members are closely related. In such cases, you might see competition for resources or mates, which can disrupt the harmony of the flock, as individuals weigh their own interests against their obligations to kin. This balance of cooperation and competition is a delicate dance, often influenced by the genetic relatedness of the birds involved, showcasing the complexity of social interactions in avian life. In many flying animal groups, such as flocks of birds or swarms of insects, the age and experience of individuals play crucial roles in shaping leadership dynamics. Older, more experienced members often take on leadership roles, guiding the group during migrations or foraging. This is particularly evident in species like geese, where seasoned adults lead the flock, using their knowledge of the best routes and safe resting spots, skills they've honed over many years. Their familiarity with the environment allows them to navigate more efficiently, reducing the risks associated with unfamiliar territories. Additionally, in social species like honeybees, the age of the bee influences its role within the hive. Older bees, who have gathered more experience, often take on foraging duties, while younger bees remain inside the hive, performing tasks like nursing or cleaning. This age-based division of labor ensures that the most experienced individuals are responsible for critical tasks that require knowledge of foraging locations and flower availability. In some bird species, such as African elephants, older members, often matriarchs, lead herds, utilizing their extensive life experience to make decisions that affect the entire group. Their wisdom helps in identifying threats and finding water sources during dry seasons, showcasing how age and experience directly impact survival strategies. Moreover, in migratory species, the presence of older leaders can enhance group cohesion. Younger individuals tend to follow the more experienced leaders closely, learning from their actions and decisions. This mentorship aspect not only helps the younger members gain vital skills, but also strengthens the social bonds within the group, creating a more unified front during challenging times. Experience also contributes to risk assessment. Older individuals often exhibit more cautious behaviors, which can be vital during foraging or when evading predators. Their ability to evaluate situations based on past encounters allows them to make better decisions, ensuring the safety of themselves and their companions. Interestingly, the age of leaders can also influence group dynamics beyond mere navigation and foraging. In certain species, the presence of older leaders can enhance the overall fitness of the group. Younger members benefit from the knowledge and skills of their elders, leading to improved survival rates and reproductive success. This transfer of knowledge is essential in environments where conditions can change rapidly, as it allows the entire group to adapt more quickly. In summary, the age and experience of individuals in flying animal groups significantly contribute to leadership roles, enhancing navigation, foraging efficiency, risk assessment, and group cohesion. The interplay of these factors not only supports the flying animals such as birds and bats communicate and establish social hierarchies, not just through their vocalizations, but also through a variety of non-vocal signals, which can be fascinating to observe. For many species, body language plays a crucial role in communication. For example, birds often use their feathers, ruffling or fluffing them up, to show their mood or to signal aggression, while others might display their plumage in particular ways to attract mates or assert dominance. Posture is another important aspect. A bird standing tall with its wings slightly spread can convey confidence, while a bird that hunches down may be signaling submission or fear. In addition to body posture, visual signals are essential. Many flying animals engage in elaborate displays, such as the intricate flight patterns of some birds, which can serve to establish territory or attract a mate. For instance, male birds of paradise perform complex aerial displays to impress females, showcasing their agility and beauty, which helps them not only to communicate their fitness, but also to establish their place within a social hierarchy. Moreover, color plays a significant role in signaling among flying animals. Brightly colored plumage can indicate health and vitality, while duller colors may suggest a more submissive status. In some species, like the peacock, the vivid tail feathers are a clear signal of genetic fitness, and the more impressive the display, the higher the chances of attracting a mate and establishing a dominant position in the social structure. Another interesting aspect is the use of scent. While it may not be as common among flying animals as it is in terrestrial species, some birds and bats do use chemical signals to communicate. For example, certain species of birds may release scents from their preen glands to signal their reproductive status or to mark territory. This olfactory communication can be subtle but is crucial in establishing relationships within their social groups. In addition to visual and chemical signals, tactile communication also plays a role, especially in social species. For example, some birds engage in mutual preening, where they groom each other, which not only helps with feather maintenance, but also strengthens social bonds, reinforcing their positions within the group. This behavior can indicate trust and establish a hierarchy among peers. Lastly, certain flying animals, particularly social ones, have developed unique social behaviors that facilitate communication. For instance, bees and some species of bats use dance and movement to convey information about food sources or to coordinate group activities. The waggle dance of honeybees is a famous. Invasive flying species can have significant implications on the ruling structures of native flying animals, as they can disrupt established ecosystems in various ways. When a new flying species enters an environment, it often competes for food, nesting sites, and other resources that native birds and insects rely on. This competition can lead to a decline in native populations as they struggle to adapt to the sudden presence of these invaders. For example, invasive species may be more aggressive, more efficient at foraging, or even carry diseases to which native species have no immunity. This can shift the balance of power in the skies, as the invasive species may dominate the available resources, forcing native species to alter their behaviors, habitats, and even their breeding patterns. Moreover, the presence of invasive flying species can lead to changes in predation dynamics. Native birds, for instance, may find themselves not just competing with invasive species, but also becoming prey to them. Some invasive species have developed hunting strategies that target native birds, which can further threaten their survival and disrupt the ecological roles that these native birds